In today's video, we're going to be comparing the image quality of this drone, the Autel Lite Plus, compared to the Mavic 3 Classic by DJI. Now, this comparison is going to be daytime footage only. I shot a video showing you nighttime footage between these two drones. Check the link up here if you're interested. So first things first, we're going to start with auto. This is -3 exposure. We're going to expose a little bit dark, so we give the camera full control over the ISO, over the shutter, over the aperture, everything, even the white balance. No filters on for this test, just straight out of camera. Now, this is the Lite Plus. It looks good even at -3. This car looks a tad overexposed even at -3, but overall, the image is well exposed. Even on the signs here, you can see the writing and stuff very clearly. Very nice, very good job, very nice image, straight out of camera. A little bit on the warm side. I'm not sure why the algorithm chose that white balance, but it is what it is. I would have went a little cooler. Here is the Mavic 3 now. Whew, this is at -3. At -3, this car is completely blown out. Right? You can see the whites are completely blown out. Even the signs are hard to read at -3. Even the rooftop here, there's hardly any detail. Does this mean the camera's inferior? No. It just means that DJI put a lot less effort and work into tuning the camera. But if you're a beginner and you're buying one of these drones and you're going to drop it in auto, well, this is what you can expect at -3. Here, the center of the image looks nice and crisp and sharp over here. But as you start moving out towards the end of the image, it starts to get a little soft. You can see the edges here. When you reach the edge, it's very soft, and I talked about this in my previous video. You will get this kind of stuff when you have a wide lens. A wide lens will capture more, so that's a huge advantage. But unless you're putting a lot of money into that glass, you will have some distortion at the ends, and that's what we have at the ends of this image with this glass. But the middle looks nice, it looks decent. Let's look at them side by side. There you go. Side by side, you can see just I don't know which one. This is the Hasselblad colors. This is the Autel standard color profile. To me, the Autel is just a little too oversaturated for my taste. I don't know why it's so heavily saturated. I wish they would turn down the saturation a little bit more. Now, you can do this stuff if you like to edit. This one, I would just turn up the sharpness a little bit more. I feel like it's not sharp enough in the camera. And the -3 is definitely overexposed. So you look at this white car over here and you look at it over here, you could see the difference. This one's perfectly exposed. This one is a mess. So don't even shoot your Mavic 3 Classic at -3 if you're a beginner. Probably go -7 or even -1, because you can always brighten up an image, but when an image is too bright, it's hard to get back those details. It gets damaged in the bright areas. I would say this gives you a better quality in auto, and I would say this gives you better colors in auto. I just like it. Now, this is where things get interesting. We're going to switch over to manual. So I put my settings in. I put basically both cameras around 5.6 aperture, because I believe that the higher you go into aperture, the sharper it gets, up to a point, probably like f6 or f6.5, and then after then the image starts to degrade a little bit more. So I set both cameras to f5.6 aperture, both of them to ISO 100. We're still in standard color profile, and I basically just adjusted the shutter until I found a good exposure for me, and I think I nailed the exposure here on the Autel. So yeah, this looks very similar to the auto algorithm. So I guess whatever algorithm Autel has in auto is very similar to what someone would do in manual. So kudos to that. Good job. Nice and clean and crisp. The DJI now, this is manual, so this is f5.6 aperture. The image is starting to sharpen up a little bit. Manual settings do help, so if you are going to shoot standard color profile, do go in manual and do shoot around f5.6. You will get a sharper image. Just how sharp compared to the Autel? Well, we'll do some side-by-sides now and take a look. Now look at the Autel over here. It's just a cleaner, sharper image at the corners and all in the middle. Everything is just sharp. You look at the top here, and bear in mind, the Autel is further away, right, compared to the DJI. You could actually see the DJI drone. Look how far it is. This little tiny specker right here. That's how much closer the DJI was to the globe. And still, I have more details up here. I do not have as much details up here, but that could have been because I didn't nail the exposure either. But generally, you can just look at these two images and see that this one is much sharper. Now, a lot of people will look at stuff like this and say, oh, it's over sharpened. What I would say to you is put it on a bigger screen. If you have a bigger monitor like this, put it on a bigger monitor. I did, and it did not look over sharpened. It looked just sharp enough. And I think the bigger the monitor that you put it on, the better results you will see, that this image will start to get even softer and this one will start to look better. So I don't think it's over sharpened. I just think it depends on what device you're looking at it on. So the DJI does have some improvements. Look at the corners over here, and I haven't even zoomed in on manual over here. 1.5 times roughly. Very soft over here. This one's actually looking a little soft, and the corners over here too, but what can you expect? Neither the two are log, but this image, look at this building here, it's just a lot sharper. This one very soft at the back there. So the Autel, the camera, is definitely sharper. That's a fact, right? Even at f5.6. Next, we're gonna check a little bit of dynamic range test. This is shooting straight into the sun. So the whole idea is if you shoot straight into the sun, you get to see the dynamic range that both of them offer. Now this is at -2 exposure. Yeah, -2, and as you can see, even at -2, I had no filter on or anything. Auto mode, just -2 exposure. The sun is still blowing out, and you're getting some lens flare here, and you can't really see. You can see there's some cars on the ground, but not too clearly here with the Autel. The back here looks nice and crisp and crisp, and there's a lot of details up here in the sky. Whereas the Mavic, still you can't see much cars in the ground either. Hair's blown out as well, but they're very similar. At -2, I would say this stuff is like, pick whichever one you like the most. I don't see much difference in dynamic range there. This one actually looks a little brighter in -2, but not much of a difference here. Not anything to talk about. It's just the algorithm. Now we have 0 exposure. This is the Autel. You could see it over here running. Cars are looking a little bit more visible. I could actually see a bird flying on the water over there. Sun is still blown out. Still the lens flare at 0. Sun still blown out here. Lens flare. But you could see the cars a lot better, I think, with the Mavic and the water. I just think the Autel's doing a better job exposing for the sky, because you could see more details here in the sky, whereas here it's kind of washed out. But that gives the DJI the opportunity to expose the ground better, and the Autel not. So it's pick your poison. Which one do you want exposed better? I can't say really there's a huge difference in dynamic range there. However, looking at the log, again, you don't have control over the log, but I just decided throw a wrench at it anyway, and this is editing the log shooting into the sun, which was suffering for me. I had a very difficult time editing the log for the Evo. And the Mavic 3 log, I just think did a phenomenal job. And this is where the ability to shoot in manual just really comes out, as I was able to dial in my settings and I think get the best out of both the ground and the sky here. So the Mavic just killed it in my opinion. Look, the Evo still struggling over there. This 200 megabits. D-Log just killing it over here. I could see the ground better than I could see the Evo, and the sky exposed better than you could see the Evo. So I would definitely say if you're shooting sun setting, just you know, I don't know what to tell you with the Evo, but for the Mavic 3, just put that baby in log and point straight at the sun, whether you got a filter or not. This is where the Mavic really shines and shows its capabilities. That's about it for video. Let's move on to photos. Now this is JPEG, just straight out of camera, -3. And this is 3x2. So everything you see with 3x2 here, that's the Autel, and the Mavic shoots in 4x3. And these are JPEGs. These are straight out of camera. So if you don't want to do any editing or anything like that, let's look straight out of camera. Now this stuff is really subjective because both of these images are looking clean. Evo looks a little sharper over here. The Mavic, no. But bear in mind, this is just auto, right? This is the algorithm, the camera. On the Mavic, the 4x3 is brighter. Yeah, you could see here on the vehicles as well. But it does a good job at -3. Better job at -3 in photos than it does in videos. And the Evo, oh my gosh. There we go, yeah. Look at that. It's just a sharper, cleaner image. Look, you can make out the writing and stuff, even at -3 exposure. But who knows what the camera is doing. I want to pixel peep, but I'm not going to pixel peep in auto, right? This is not what you go auto for. This is just for beginners. So we have 0 exposure. I'm just going to skip that at this point, because if -3 is overexposing a little bit, then 0 is going to be too exposed. So this I was able to dial in my own settings, f5.6, right, on the aperture again, and just get the freedom to do what I want to bring out the best out of the photography in this camera. Now look at that. The Mavic has changed the game here. It's hard to tell the difference between these two photos. Like, I can't even tell you which one is which. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this one is the Evo, because the far away things are just a little bit more sharp over here than over there. So let me see if this says 3x2. 3x2, yeah. So this is the Evo at the back here. I could tell from the sharpness over here compared to over here. Over here is just a little bit more sharper. So this is manual. Let's pixel people a little bit. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 on the Mavic, and for the Evo, let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, you can see this image is starting to grain out a little bit. The Mavic to me is holding out a lot. It's a lot less grainier, right? And this, look at this whole image is starting to grain out over here. This is starting to grain out too, but the Evo is just graining out a lot more, and that's probably the advantage of a bigger sensor, right? It will collect more light, and as a result, it's less prone to grain. But in terms of detail, you can see a little bit more detail here, less over here. But what does that matter on a zoom when you when you're starting to grain out? Because zooming is not going to help you when you're getting all of this grain. As you can see, this image here is even breaking down here, and the Mavic is holding up. And I said that in my videos for the night shots and the night photos. I said I'd rather shoot photos with the Mavic, and I'd rather shoot videos with the Autel. That's just me, right? So to wrap things up, I definitely recommend the Mavic 3 Classic for photography and the Lite Plus for video. I just feel that each one has its own strong points, right? And in general, with the camera, you cannot be good at both. You have to be better at one or the other. And the Mavic 3 to me is just better at photos, and the Lite Plus is just better at videos in general, unless you're going in log and you're shooting 10-bit, which this just does not have. I think this is an incredible value at the price point for $1,100 to get a Fly More combo, and then they'll be releasing compatibility for this controller soon. And let me tell you guys something, this controller is this Classic you can get it with this controller, which is about the same. This one just has a bigger screen by 1 inch or something, but this is also an appealing package at 17 something. But by the time you add more batteries, the Fly More combo, the charging that comes with the Fly More combo kit and everything, you're probably up to $2,200-$2,300 with this controller and a Fly More combo. $2,300. And then to remember that we're just comparing cameras over here. There's a lot more that goes into this stuff, right? Like, DJI is known for its tracking. Its tracking out of all the cinematic drones is the best, right? It's just got more sensors. It's got more features. The hyperlapses on this thing is insane. So you're getting a lot more features, not just camera quality, right? And the camera quality, as you can see, it's pretty darn close. So when you're spending the extra money, it's not like you're spending the extra money and you're not getting more. You're getting more. You're getting a refined software. You're getting the best flight experience possible. That's just what DJI offers. This flies good. It flies really great, yes. But I tell people all the time, nothing flies like a DJI. So it all depends on what's most important to you, right? This has no restrictions. Some people don't care about that. For some people, it's a big thing. So a lot goes into it. So just make sure you think this through. Think about what's more important to you. You've seen the camera quality side by side, and I don't think you could go wrong with any one of these drones. And that pretty much does it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit thumbs up. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit all that fun stuff. And I also forgot to mention that the Mavic 3 can also work with the Pro controller in case you want to do professional work with it. It also has the HDMI out and all that stuff. It's just a whopping $1,200 more, yes. But that's more along the professional lines, guys. So yeah, hit subscribe, hit thumbs up if you want to see more videos like this. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Also, what other videos should I make? I will catch you, well, whenever I can. Make sure you become a Patreon, guys. Big benefits to Patreon. Get direct access to me. Any questions? I'm right here on Patreon. Support this channel, and there's benefits. Last Mini 2 went all the way to the UK.